Welcome to my obligatory July Artfight video. I've participated in Artfight 3 years in a row now, so I just wanted to talk about this year's Artfight while drawing a couple of attacks for Artfight. For this year, I wanted to use Artfight to practice a couple of concepts and have fun by doing it most importantly. I so often lack inspiration for what to do with my own OCs, and drawing others' OCs somehow helps with that. I assume it's due to the pressure to make the perfect drawing, because I'm always scared I won't live up to my own expectations, but when doing it to cheer others up, I feel free. Yet that brings the next issue. I want everyone to be happy by drawing their OCs, so every year without fail, I start to lose steam by around the second week, and after that, I have to drag my hand over my tablet just to finish up a couple last attacks. But this year, I decided to take it slow and not force myself to draw if I didn't want to. I'm writing the script before I finished all of the drawings, but I can already guess that most of these characters are probably going to be pretty boys, princes, or probably blonde with long hair. Make a bingo card and play along if you want. For my first attack of Artfight 2026, I chose Artfight and Ally by J Cake Animations. I originally saw Ally and liked their design, and that made me look at their relationships and read as follows. I immediately thought of this painting, The 1,000-Yard Stare. It's one of my all-time favorite stickers to use, and I know I needed to make a drawing inspired by the painting. For this attack, I wanted to try using bright popping colors to see how they work together. I often do use bright colors, and I don't know if it's because color is like an addiction to me. Maybe it's because my room is entirely white, and instead of those beige babies, I'm a white baby. But that sounds funny out of context. But yeah, I wanted to see what colors I could get away with using as highlights and which ones I could for shadows. For this one, I made a little discovery that I started using often in the colors, in that using a very gray version of the main color can make it look like a bounce light or like a cyan overlay, which looks very satisfying, and so that was the main pro of this piece. In the end, I really liked this drawing. It was fun, and I was happy to make something that maybe isn't the most serious or conventionally pretty. It was a great start to this year. This was a character whose PFP looked cool, but after I clicked on them and read through the info, I found out they were also a prince. Those 6 letters took control of me, and my veins surged with motivation and inspiration. And oh, I was determined to draw Rosary Knight's Briar. Take a shot every time I draw a prince, but I won't be responsible for any alcohol poisoning, got it? For this piece, I wanted to practice perspective. I used my favorite high angle perspective. That is the only one that I'm semi-proficient in. I think it's the prettiest one, and obviously I wasn't gonna do a low angle for a character wearing a dress. So on we go. I had a bit of a tough time with the colors for this one, as Briar is a very pastel tone, so my usual bright colors had to take a backseat while I struggled with multiply layers to add some depth. Artfight does make me nervous about colors, because even if someone's permissions allow color changes, how far can I push the neon colors before it's too far? Especially for characters like Briar, who are so pastel and cohesive in their color palettes that I'm nervous to make any changes, and instead I use the accurate base colors with a whole lot of overlays, which never feels as satisfying as the color blocking and adding highlights by hand. It doesn't even save time for me. But if I was going to use blending modes, I didn't want to do something unique, in that I used a green as a main color, which is a color I usually steer clear from, as my color palette usually spans from yellow to blue through the warm color spectrum, so I still got a new experience from this one. And ta-da! I was drawn to look at Chop Pudding's Elias, as I immediately clocked him as being an IDV character, which I hadn't seen before. I used to play IDV a lot a couple of years ago, but then they nerfed Geisha. I no longer play IDV. Some say it was a buff. The religious Geisha player thinks that it was a nerf, because suddenly, I'm not winning games anymore. I don't care what anyone says, but anyway, that is to say that I have an attachment to the franchise. Back to Elias. I liked his simply elegant design. I have a soft spot for elegant men, especially with long hair, so when I read his lore and found out he has religious trauma, I was 100% determined to draw him. He may be someone's fuck-ass son, but I love that man. For this piece, I wanted to play with the lights and the darks, and the warm and cold, kind of like contrast. Since Briar was such a struggle, I decided to try using blending modes again with emission and multiply to see how to truly balance both, and I feel that this time it worked out a little bit better. This was more of a simpler piece, but I did really enjoy making it as it did turn out much better than the previous one. Time for your second shot. Vladrik is a Slavic prince made by necrosis. It's stated that he's arrogant, vain, proud, and irritable, and that's like half the recipe to my all-time favorite character. And his hair is a shade of blonde. I was in heaven with Vladrik. I was tweaking out when pronouncing his name the English way, so I did a little research on how to pronounce it properly, and with that I found out that apparently Vladrik is a diminutive of names like Vladimir, Ili, Vladislav, which I find fascinating and made me appreciate the care people put into their characters for Artfight. And I also wanted to just practice my Slavic accent. Yala bubu tvoya mama. That's my favorite one to trigger my Russian friends. It's hilarious. I love it. For this piece, I wanted to practice expressions and poses, specifically angry ones since most of my poses feel really stiff, and I wanted to practice the flow and comfortability of them. Though I feel like I probably could have pushed it further by pushing the top one down and giving it more wrinkles to add force behind the anger, but that was an observation for next time. I do like this piece a lot despite that. Since I rarely do these character-focused pieces anymore, I might attempt expressions again in the future attacks. Then for my next piece, I picked Sheridan by Angelkin. My bad for not saying Rimrose because I keep reading it as Rimrose no matter how many times I remind myself it's Rimose. I found Sheridan's character interesting because he's subtly mushroom themed. Thought it was the funniest and most ironic thing to take away the subtlety and make him return to nature and become a mushroom. Hyperbole is always fun to me, and listen, it's not as crazy as it sounds. For this piece, I wanted to try harsh sunlight, though it was only my first attempt so it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted to, but I did get some practice in for lighting anyway. And I feel like the thing that I could improve in the future is the balance between the pure white and the actual harsh sunlight and the difference between those. Progress is always appreciated no matter how much or how little in this case. Only by experimenting and practicing are most people able to improve. It's my reason for being so welcoming to criticism and advice. In a way, it short tracks the mistakes and lack of knowledge. Now this one is a little special to me. I was scrolling through the Prince tag for characters and then I saw it. Prince Leo by Tea Time Hibiscus. A galactic prince with familial trauma. He was so cute, and I was shocked by how similar he looked to myself, Leo to Leonid. Just everything about this character struck me to my core like lightning and sunk to my soul like a choir of cherubs. It probably spoke to me because I also have a space prince named Leo, whose main color is also blue. It's so similar to Leo 1, Leonis, my VTuber persona. What are the chances of two space princes named Leo, both connected so interestingly? It was fate. I could not make that joke. I was also so happy to read that Leo ran away from home to explore the world because my Leo also often sneaks out to explore the universe. I genuinely found all of these parallels so endearing, and I just genuinely wanted to draw the two of these together. They're like soulmates or like the same guy in a different universe. Enough about my emotional attachment to Leos. For this piece, I wanted to draw an interaction between the Leos, like meeting each other and fanning over, both of them being named Leo. I was dying of cuteness. Okay. I did use some bright colors, harsh lines, my usual style. Done. By this point, I was getting tired. I had been drawing from morning to night for a couple days in a row, whether it was for videos or Artfight. It was also getting to me since I was also doing an internship at the same time. But still, I wanted to make sure I revenge those who attacked me to show how grateful I am for their attacks. I know it's not required to revenge every attack, but I still feel the need to, so I kept pushing. The first of my revenges was for this character by Huiza. I really wanted to try another color style for this one. While I usually use bright colors, I tend to vary the brightness between them. So I wanted to try a style with bright colors that didn't rely on brightness, instead relying on hue and the hue shifts between the colors. I hope I will be able to do more attacks, but I'm already getting a bit tired and losing motivation. It has been so fun to do all of these attacks this year, and I hope all of you are also enjoying your art fights. This year was real fun with the 3-team split. Just maybe different themes could have done better. Comedy and tragedy are classical genres, so Mystery's inclusion was bound to make it the losing team due to lack of popularity. Still, I salute my Mystery art fighters. And most importantly, I hope everybody's having fun. Also importantly, huge thank you to everybody who has attacked me or avenged me. This is my first year where I have received more attacks than have made attacks, and I am so grateful for each one. Every character I have drawn will be linked down below, as well as my own art fight. But anyways, until next time, I have been your host Leo. It was a pleasure to have you with me today, and remember to subscribe if you have enjoyed the video and drop a like. Now we have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time, Your Majesty.